Well, I'm back at the silage clamp again, and even though it still is very early, I've only managed to get the hide set up and get into it before the birds arrived. It really pays dividends getting everything set up here while it's still dark, because the birds are on the ball really sharp in the morning. And as you can see, there must be over a dozen magpies feeding on the crop silage under the cover just in front of me. Now, I still haven't got the rifle set up, so while I'm fussing about in the hide, the noise has spooked the birds, as you can see. But thankfully I managed to get the rifle loaded and get it up in the shooting sticks with the muzzle pointing out through the hide netting, ready for a shot. Thankfully by this stage the magpies have started to file back into the silage face. It's still half dark, so any movement I make isn't really been picked up, thankfully. But when that hooded crow landed just in the foreground there, all my attention fell on him. To me, he's worth 5 magpies. They are not liked at all by sheep farmers, but I need a nice headshot for him, and he's sitting pretty for it. And drop him where he stands. He might flap about a bit, but that usually happens with a headshot. He's stone dead. I quickly reload, and even though the birds have scattered, one still remains on top of a hay shaker. I get the rifle and the camera on him, and take him again with another headshot. So that's 2 birds into the bag within 5 minutes of getting into the hide, and a hooded crow to boot, and they don't often come into the farmyard like this. So while the rest of the birds have scattered, I took the opportunity of going forward and picking up the 2 birds I've just shot, so that the sight of them won't put off any incoming birds from landing. Now, there's more than crows and magpies come here. This little wagtail is quite happy to knock about the farm. It doesn't do any harm, and I'm not intending to shoot it. Now, due to a change of coat, I forgot to bring my usual face veil, so I was trying to reconfigure my snoot hat into some sort of face mask. And while I was doing that, this magpie cheekily landed down at the silage face. But of course, by the time I got the shooting stick set up and lifted the rifle back into position again, yes, you guessed it, Mr. Magpie decided he had had his fill and cleared off. Oh well, can't get them all. Now the morning went on, and as you can see, the light has picked up quite a bit when this bird landed. This time I had my snoot arranged into some sort of face veil to help hide the white of my face, and the rifle ready for a shot. The bird was a bit jittery jumping about the place, so I decided to go for the heart and lung shot. He got about 2 or 3 yards and dropped. I thought, bird down, job done. But as I went over to pick him up, I realised there was a bit more life in him than I give him credit for. But he was quickly dispatched with a quick twist of the wrist. I still think the shot was well enough placed. Why it wasn't as instantly fatal as others, I do not know. That's just the way heart and lung shots can go sometimes. The crows and magpies seemed to be taking a bit of a back seat for a while, as the farmer was driving about while feeding the cattle, but it didn't seem to put off these little house sparrows from grabbing a bite to eat, and no, I didn't shoot any. But the constant noise of the tractor driving about didn't seem to put off this bird. He's seen it all before, and he's coming in for a bite to eat. But I've got a bit of a surprise for him, and hit him squarely in the chest with a 2-2 pellet. This time I didn't go forward as I thought the bird fell out of sight in among the tyres, which is probably a good thing as another bird landed shortly after. Again, this bird was up in the hay shaker. So with two birds down, I decided to go forward and have a tidy up. Now I had no bother finding the bird I had just shot off the top of the hay shaker on the right hand side of the screen, but the bird I'd shot previous to that off the tyres I could not find. Now whether he fell down in among the tyres or other rubbish where I couldn't see him, I do not know. But the shot seemed squarely aimed at his chest and I was quite confident he was lying dead somewhere. I know some would say I'm wasting my time looking for them, but I still like putting the effort in to make sure I don't leave anything lying wounded behind me. So back in the hide again and giving the place time to settle after my disturbance from walking around looking for that bird, a magpie finally landed on top of the roller. Again I go for a heart and lung shot. The bird was squarely hit, but as you'll see in a minute, and probably what happened to the previous bird off the tyres, the magpie managed to get about 5-10 yards before dropping dead. Now in that short space of time, a bird can get lost in a thicket of a hedge or crawling under a bit of tin or the hollow of a tyre. So in a cluttered environment like this one, it can be quite easy to lose a bird even after a fatal heart shot. But I'm sure that won't stop some of you out there thinking he's just making excuses for himself. Well, everybody's got a right to their own opinion, I guess. Nonetheless, I've still got 4 or 5 magpies and a hooded crow in the bag, so that was a well enough spent morning.